I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Dennis Kudla.
I'm Jesper de Jong.
I'm Henry Laaksonen.
I am Francisco Cerundolo,
and you are listening to the Game to Love podcast.
Hey, welcome back, tennis fans. It's over. The Australian Open finally ended yesterday for us in the UK. And Novak Djokovic, yes, he did it. 22 Grand Slams, 10 Australian Opens. He's level with Rafa at the top of the tree. I couldn't be happier. And he did it in 3. Just to have a little rhyme there. So excited that he did it in such easy fashion. I would have preferred maybe a slightly more competitive one, but I was very nervous, as you know, in that final and hoping he'd win. But I don't know. I think the whole tournament, he was just so good. Should we have expected anything different than a straight sets Djokovic winning that final?
Yeah, I mean, my reaction to the whole thing is I'm actually I'm just astounded by how good he is. Djokovic showed another level completely. He had all of the concerns about his injury coming into the event. We've seen quotes since from Ivan Isavic after the tournament talking about how severe his injury was. He battled through it all and he played some brilliant tennis. I mean, he was hitting the ball harder than everyone. He had every shot in the book better than anyone else. His serving was great. His backhand defense was incredible and mentally stronger and more resilient than any other player on the tour. And I think the biggest factor, which I've not just mentioned, is the fact that he wanted to put some revenge to Australia. He definitely wanted to say, you didn't let me play here last year. Watch, I'm going to come here and win the whole thing. You felt that sort of vendetta against the whole situation. He had a point to prove this year down under. And I don't think anyone could have stopped him. I know he didn't get the chance to play a Daniel Medvedev or a Carlos Alcaraz or Rafael Nadal, but of course he wasn't playing great. But I think he would have beaten all of these. It didn't matter who you put in front of him. He was going to win this Australian Open. It was written in the stars. And the support he got was outstanding. They had a record attendance for the final. There's never been so many fans outside Rod Laver Arena with the Serbian flags. We had Noel Fam out there as well. And there's just packed. Like everyone was so emotional for his victory, himself included. And I want to go there next because I've never seen Djokovic break down like he did after he won. He fell to the floor and was just sobbing. Yeah. I don't know if you've got a tweet for it, but it was just very, very emotional. He fell down sobbing, and it's a weird place to start, but I think it's a good place to start because it just goes to show someone who's won now 22 Grand Slams, look what it does to him. I mean, this is like an image you see if someone's had a medical failure or something's not well with them, but he genuinely just lost his mind and was so overcome with the emotions of it all that he couldn't stand up anymore, and he was there sobbing, and he put everything into this tournament. He said, if it was any other event, if it wasn't a Grand Slam, he wouldn't have even entered with the injury he had coming in. And you can see how much it meant to him going through. And I know a lot of people are going to be saying, oh, I'm a Rafa fan. Why are you even saying all these things about Nole? But the thing is, he really did touch me, not during the tournament, after the tournament. And there was a few quotes he said, especially on court, the on-court interview with him with the trophy. And he was talking about Steph. Some of the things are talking about his roots and where he's come from, coming from a small town in Serbia, with Tsitsipas coming from Greece. They had no idols. They didn't have any players to look up to from their home countries. And what they've been able to do is amazing on the tennis stage. And I think what that does show is any kids, anyone coming involved in tennis who maybe are coming from very unfortunate backgrounds without the financial backing or the courts or the support from parents, you can make something of yourself. Because look what these two have been able to achieve.
Exactly right. Coming from literally nothing. That's just one of the things that Djokovic says. And obviously, he has very strong feelings about war and stuff like that. He said he's like obviously grown up in a country that has had to deal with this type of thing. So he's had very, very hard upbringing, Novak Djokovic. And he doesn't forget his roots. He always remembers where he comes from. He knows all of the Serbian people that come to support him. He's very, very in touch with all of them, all of his fan base and everybody. And I think when you saw him celebrating after that one, when he finally climbed up and then got to that box, and then you saw there was just like a sort of an emotional roller coaster that went from like one stage to the next. He went first off, he just looked at them and he just went, ah, ah, like they was just letting out what seemed to be like a year's worth of just joy, screaming, anger, everything was just pouring out. Then he had his family and all of his loved ones around him there, and he didn't have his dad there, which probably really upset him as well. And that it's one of his, if not his biggest moment in his career, and his dad wasn't there.
Yep.
And they came to the decision together, apparently, obviously behind the scenes, that he wouldn't come to the semi or the final, which is what a big decision for his dad to make. I mean, if you're going to applaud Serjan for anything, to do that for his son and miss the biggest moment potentially of his career at the moment. I mean, amazing. And that's probably why, like, that whole thing, you saw his mum like hugging him for a long, long time. It was like a very, very heartfelt moment. And it's hard to not feel like some compassion, even if you don't like Djokovic and you're not a Djokovic fan. You see somebody go who's been through a lot, and you know what he went through last year. And even if you think, oh, he should have had the vaccine, blah, 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 all of that stuff, he went into Australia with the knowledge that he could play. That's why he went there, and then he got sent away again. And that wasn't, he wouldn't have gone otherwise. And he got made an example of, pretty much embarrassed in front of the whole world. And then he has to come back and sort of prove a point, really. And it's been a long time waiting for it. That's the thing. And now he finally got to unleash what looked like a year's worth of pain, I felt, after that.
Yeah, I think even if you aren't a Djokovic fan, so from talking from my own perspective, I'm a big Rafael Nadal fan. But watching what he was able to do in Australia, in terms of level of tennis, you can't get much higher. I think the ceiling was very high. Stefanos Tsitsipas did not come into the final and bottle it. I think Steph played his game. He looked quite composed, and he has turned the corner mentally. And he showed that this whole tournament with the amount of break points he was able to save. He looks a different player. The backhand didn't let him down. The forehand was a bit wobbly, to be honest, in the final. But still, overall, the package of Stefanos Tsitsipas wasn't that bad. Djokovic, on a tennis level, was sublime. He was so good. So even if you're not a fan of him, you've got to respect how well he played. And then the second element of it is what he said to the media afterwards. I found it very engaging, very interesting, and you can't really pick it apart at all. I've just enjoyed what he had to say. I thought it was very motivating in any walks of life. Me and you, we're never going to play tennis. We're never going to be professional tennis players. I'm sorry to break it to you on the podcast right now, but you're never going to make it pro with tennis. However, you can apply some of the things Djokovic said to everyday life. And that is, if you have a dream, keep going and striving towards it. Work hard every day, and something can happen. You can achieve it. And I think that is so important to do that. And I loved all of the things he was saying about Stefanos Tsitsipas. He was very kind towards him. And he had time for everyone. He had time for Spanish journalists, for English journalists, for journalists all over the world. He had time, and he gave them very well thought out, concise answers and responses to their questions. We know he can speak multiple languages. I just found the whole thing very touching. And I think for someone like me, I was able to see a little bit of a different side of Djokovic this event. And maybe it's always been there. I'm not saying it's not, but it definitely taught me a lot about him as a man. And I have a lot more respect than I ever have had for him. I've always respected him as one of the greatest players to ever play the game. But now I think I respect him on another level altogether.
Well, yeah, I mean, the one thing that I sort of touched on earlier, and that sort of follows on nicely from it, just saying how much time he has for everybody, and he gives a lot back to people, especially people who are devoted fans of his, like obviously Julie. She's a big fan of his. He went even played tennis with her not so long ago, had like a knock-up session with her. And you see, after the tournament finishes, he's quick to go and find Nole Fam and go and have film with them, hug with them, and what other big names in sport go and do that? I mean, we've got the thing here, Julie saying thank you so much for stopping by. Djokovic, at the end of his photo shoot, he came to meet Nole fam. I took my phone to make a video. Honestly, he's the best of the best. And you can see there, look at that, just loving it with all of his loyal fans. And they are loyal fans. And you can't say anything more than that, can you? They go everywhere, above and beyond to support him. Through thick and thin, they'll have his back. And he gives back to people like that. And you got to have, I don't know, you've got to just have some compassion for somebody who's like that, because that's somebody who knows where they came from.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think I can say much more. I know we've got a lot of people in the live chat, Gary in, big Djokovic fans, and awesome words coming from you. You may bring some Federer fans around to stop the hate and accept the greatness of the man and the player. I think you can differentiate the two with everyone. In a sports star, you've got the man and the player. And I feel like I've fallen a bit more in love with the man. The tennis player I've always respected and loved, but I definitely have a newfound love / respect for the man.
Yeah, I think it's impossible not to. Like, whether you think that he was, I don't know, should have played or shouldn't have played last year, you have to, everybody was in agreement, I think, of the treatment of him was terrible. And that was the general consensus I got across the board is, but it doesn't matter his status on vaccination or his stance, his treatment was wrong. And that was the key thing last year. And that should be the thing that everybody takes away from it. He was just sort of following orders, and he got caught in the like crossfire, really, of just everybody else messing everything up for him. So he's back. He won it. Rafa did well to win it last year when he wasn't there, because that was a mammoth effort and dramatic in its own right as well. So we had two dramatic Australian Opens for different reasons. And I can't wait for next year's one now to see what else happens. Maybe we'll have Alcaraz actually fully fit and playing, and we'll get to see some different dramas next year. Who knows? So...
I can't think about next year. I think we're in for a big 2023. We've just started. We're still in January, remember, Ben? And we've got 3 more slams to play. The next one being Roland Garros, where Rafael Nadal hopefully will be playing. This man, Novak Djokovic, should be playing. And we could be getting a battle in 2023 for Rafa versus Nole for the 23rd Grand Slam. And listen, as much as I'm saying all these great things about Nole, I will not be supporting him against Rafael Nadal. And here we go, right on cue. Lovely graphic. This is the slam race as it stands. So Roger Federer, 20. We've obviously got Rafa there, 22. Serena. We can't really look at Steffi Graf and Serena Williams. They're obviously female tennis players. But the big three being Rafa, Djokovic, and Federer. Federer's been left in the dirt now on 20, and they're both tied up with 22 apiece. And if either Rafa or Djokovic can get one more, so maybe at the next slam in Roland Garros, they would then level with Serena Williams.
Big. Will either of them go on to surpass Serena? It's such a big total, that one. I think it's still possible, though. They've still got life in the old dogs yet, and they're not going anywhere. If Djokovic is saying he might want to play doubles with Stefan a tournament when he gets old enough, I don't know if that's a joke or not.
Well, it's definitely a joke, Ben. I don't think he's going to be playing at 50 years old.
Maybe just as an exhibition, who knows? Or maybe just in the
as an exhibition, yeah, but not on a professional. It's not going to be on the ATP tour.
Maybe not. Maybe
regardless of that, though, Djokovic definitely seems to have a little bit more longevity than Rafael Nadal. The way things are going at the moment, it's hard to argue against that.
Yeah, I mean, injury-wise, much more severe on the Rafa side of injuries, and each time he gets one, he's out for months. It seems Djokovic somehow managed to just play through it, and then it just sort of recovered as he was going, which was good.
We've got Edgar in saying, where's Roswell or Court? Well, Court, this is just open era, as you can see at the bottom. So open era, can't really count them too much. But let's move on to the next tweet. Thought this was a nice graphic from the Australian Open.
Should we go to the first one? Number 10 in Australia, and still going strong. That's a nice look, and that's his record there.
Yeah, so this is his record: 89 victories, 8 losses.
Not bad, is it?
I don't know what more to say. I mean, there's a lot of stats that are going to just blow you away with Novak Djokovic. He is slowly approaching the top of all of them.
Yeah.
And if you are really into the GOAT debate, I'm sure a lot of you are.
What?
And Ben loves the GOAT debate. He's a big fan of it. I just like respecting them all as great players, especially at the moment.
Yeah, the first time I've heard that. What's going on?
Maybe after Roland Garros, I'll have a different view. But right now, they're all great players. You've all got your favourites. But no, these stats are sublime. And Weeks at now number 1, extending that, trying to win slams in 10 or more slams in multiple slams. He's doing that. He's got Wimbledon where he's 2 away from getting to 10. Like every stat he's just closing in on. Wins against top 10 players. He's exceeding in that now after another win against Stefanos Tsitsipas.
Yep.
Another straight set in a Grand Slam final. He's extended in that. He's just doing some crazy things. And if he continues like this, then he will be the man who has 80% of all the stats. He'll be the number 1 of all of them.
Did I read a statistic? I'm not sure who it was. Was it Gil Gross maybe posted it saying this could have been his first slam with that win without dropping a set, but then he did drop one to Enzo Quacco in the second round, the 191 in the world.
Well, that's what Federer and Nadal both have that over him. They've both won slam titles without losing a set. Djokovic never done it.
Close, very close. I bet he's thinking, "Oh, you damn leg." he was, I don't know. Quacco actually played really well in that second set. He actually took the game to him, and actually it was entertaining. I thought that match probably more entertaining than the semi-final, quarter-final, and the fourth round.
Definitely Alex de Minaur, yeah.
Yeah, I know. So we got the Joker. Oh no, here we go. I've had it in my head all day long, as I'm sure most of you have heard the song by now. If not, we'll give you a little teaser at the end just to wet your whistle. But this
I might even give you all a teaser now because it's quite fitting. So this is, I think, Tennis TV, is it? They posted this?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, Tennis TV, and it's the Joker's back on top. It's quite a cool little retro sort of magazine with the Joker, him laughing. Maybe they've been watching Game to Love, you don't know. And it says, "Look out, tennis, the Joker's back on top."
Oh, I like that. Joker's back on top.
I thought it was a really cool graphic. Maybe you can steal it for a thumbnail.
Yeah. Why?
Then get in trouble.
He's the Joker holding an ace. There were plenty of aces in the tournament for Djokovic, as we know, one of the best serves in the whole entire tournament. Seems that serve just got him out of trouble, like time and time again in this tournament. Even like break points didn't even seem like break points when Djokovic is serving. It's a bit nuts. But oh, here we go.
Yeah, I thought I'd share it now. So if you haven't already, please support the channel and go listen to our GTL exclusive special Novak Djokovic song celebrating 22. And I'm even going to give you a little listen live on the pod. So is this full screen, Ben?
Yeah.
So let me know if you can hear it.
I can hear it.
Here he is. Doing Joker things.
Maybe I'll sing it live.
I'm going to just stop it there. Listen, I love the beat. It's got such a catchy beat. It's just the same it's for Novak Djokovic. You could have done this for Rafa, no? One like this.
Well, Rafa had an incredible one for the Australian Open last year, as we remember, for 21, the first guy to reach 21 Grand Slam titles. And that one was an epic one. Maybe it's just Australia that brings it out of me. Big thanks to Dylan as well. He was involved. The crazy thing about this, the whole thing was, I actually started making the song about 3 or 4 days before the tournament finished. So it was a risk, a calculated risk, but to get it out on the day of the final as soon as it had finished. So during the final, as you could see, I wanted a good match, but I would have happy for him to get it done in straight sets, even more so than normal. So well done to Dylan. Great production. I was obviously there. He was involved with the beat and the mixing. I'm just here, just writing the lyrics and giving you the vocals.
Yeah, shout out to Dylan, of course. Shout out to yourself as well. I think the song's epic. We're getting some great comments in the live chat as well, and everyone's enjoying it. Big question coming in, though, from Who Her, saying, Ben will need to make a 23 song for either Rafa or Novak at Roland Garros. If either one of them win, will there be a 23 song?
Oh, most definitely there'll be a 23 song coming. It's going to be the first person ever on the men's side to get to 23. So you're going to have, that's going to be massive.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one.
Maybe it'll be number one. Maybe, or maybe it'll be a number two. I don't know. Who knows?
It would be good if some sort of Djokovic found this song and shared it.
We can only hope that that'll only happen if everybody out there who has been listening to it on repeat and is enjoying it, just share it on Twitter. Try and tag him in it as much as you can. And I'm just going to keep on trying to tag him on Instagram and Twitter and just hoping that one of Nole fam just passes it along to Djokovic. And eventually he got to see settling the GOAT debate, as we know, and his wife saw that one. So fingers crossed that he'll get this one as well.
Yeah, it's a great song. Check it out on the channel if you want to listen to it in full. But let's move on through the tweets. This is the Joker one. We've got Pavi G, of course. We had him on the podcast. Don't agree with everything he says, but he's definitely a big Djokovic fan. You can't deny that. And he just wrote some stats here. So 10th Australian Open, 22nd Grand Slam, 41st consecutive win in Australia. It's important to remember that. He's on a bit of a tear down under.
Yeah.
28 consecutive wins in the Australian Open. 37 wins from his last 38 competitive matches. Simply sensational. And he's calling him the GOAT. And of course, he is now the number one in the world.
Yes.
We've got maybe a graphic for that as well. So is that the next one?
I think it was the last one, wasn't it? He's back on top.
No, but we've got one with like the list of the rankings, the new rankings.
Apologies.
It's all good. Doesn't matter if you don't have it. But let's move on to the next one. So this is from, who is it?
This is Goran Ivanisevic.
So if you go down to the quote, it is here. So 97% of players would go straight to the referee office and pull out of the tournament, but not him. He's from out of space. So this has been the big headline, which has been going round all of Twitter. Everyone's talking about it right now. And that is that Djokovic entered this event injured. We knew that. But apparently it was very severe. And the MRI scans showed, I'm not exactly sure what the exact injury was, but most players would have pulled out. Djokovic even said if it wasn't a Grand Slam, he wouldn't have played. But yet he still played at the level we saw and won the whole thing. What does that say about him?
He keeps on pointing to this during matches, and I think it is a bit mind over matter. We've seen young tennis players not have this same ability to be able to use their mind to overcome their body pain on court. We've seen the big players do it time and time again.
Leave Raducanu alone, Ben. Continuously digging her out on this podcast, and I've had enough of it.
Not just her. I mean, probably Yannick Sinner, probably be another one.
Oh, he's naming them all.
But this is what I mean. But the young players, the only one I'd say maybe made of slightly sterner stuff, even though he's injured at the moment, I don't think he would pull out of a match, which is Carlos Alcaraz. I think that he looks like he might be made of that same cloth, where he will push his body despite injury in matches. He won't just pull out because of a blister. He won't just pull out because of something wrong with his leg. He'll probably just try and crawl to the net to get the ball or something like that. You don't get players like that so much anymore. I would like to see more of that from the current crop of players. Maybe that's what's happening, and people are saying, oh, it's hard to get behind the latest batch of next-gen players, because when you're used to seeing players like your Djokovic's, like your Nadal's, Federer's, even Andy Murray, he's in a prime example as well. Look what he did at the Australian Open. If he can play like that, 11 hours over 2 matches with a metal hip and come back after ridiculous injury, then these young players got no excuse. He should be an inspiration for anybody who's thinking about giving up in any type of match ever, I think, Andy Murray. Well done to Andy. I thought he had a great tournament. We shouldn't leave his name out of the picture. Djokovic had a lot to say about him as well. I think that was really nice for him to give Murray some plaudits for his struggles and his comeback, because what I thought it was amazing beating Berrettini. No, I don't think anybody saw that. What did you say? He's going to win 6 games.
Oh, I've got to hold my hands up to that. I mean, fair play, Andy Murray. He's certainly going to leave this tournament with his head held high. There's a few of the older players didn't do too bad. Djokovic, of course, included. Azarenka on the women's. I think, no, we're not talking about the women's, but she's another one who's been here a few years, and who really impressed me. So a lot of these experienced heads have been amazing in Australia, but with Djokovic, got Milan here, and I don't think tennis will ever see someone as mentally strong as Nole. It's hard to dispute it. He is just another level when it comes to his mind.
Yeah,
and he can go through pain barriers. He can just keep working, and he's desperate to win. He's not hiding the fact that he's desperate to win. In all of the interviews, he's the one player on the top 3, the big 3, who always says that he is motivated by titles. He wants to win all the titles. He wants to have all the records. He openly comes out and says that, because that's exactly what he is. And because of that, he pushes himself to the limit and beyond. And that's why he was able to play through this injury and get to the level he was and win in such ridiculous fashion. I mean, he beat Tsitsipas in straight sets in the final. And Tsitsipas has been playing very well. He made him look average. And I don't think Steph played that bad.
I don't think he played badly at all. I thought Steph actually played quite well in the final, and he broke Djokovic, remember, at the beginning of that third set, and you thought, oh, maybe the tide will change a little bit here. But to put it into perspective, Djokovic never has lost an Australian Open final. So it was already, the writing was a bit on the wall that he was going to be up against it anyway. And when he played Daniel Medvedev in the final, it was even more comfortable. It was 7-5, 6-2, 6-2. When he played Rafa in the final in, 2019? 6-3, 6-2, 6-3. The only person who, in recent years, who's done well against him was Dominic Thiem.
Yeah. Just where's this one about Murray? So Markin saying Murray was a massive inspiration. Incredible what he did the first 2 rounds. We've got a super chat in from Vanch. How we doing, Vanch? Long time no see. And he's saying, I appreciate Murray, but is it really a success if he can't get past second rounds of a slam anymore? It won't get better than this, I think. He's been through a lot, Vanch. He's not the same Andy Murray. We don't really think he can go on and win a Grand Slam now. But still, for him to beat someone like a Matteo Berrettini, of course, that's a massive success for him in a Grand Slam, considering what he's been through, and he's got a metal hip. So I'm his biggest critic, but I'm not criticising him here. He can leave with his head held high. I think he was awesome. We've got Itiri Tennis and JG, my friend. How do you feel about your bold prediction on Djokovic not winning any majors this year? I think it's good to address it now. I got it wrong. I thought that we would see some younger players step in and win some slams this year. I went for a very bold prediction and I got it wrong. I can't say any more than that. Well done to everyone who called me out and said I was wrong, because you're right and I'm wrong.
I'll cushion the blow.
What do you want me to do? Stand there with a stick and all beat me with it?
Okay, well, that is the next episode. We are going to be auctioning some tickets for the JG stick beating. No, to cushion the blow, this one might make you laugh. Anisimova just pulled out of the next tournament as well. That's great news for me and my predictions for 2020. Is she even going to play this year? Maybe is she the next Osaka? I don't know. But everyone could have a laugh at me as well. I've done some, I went a bit out there, but you got to go big. Otherwise, no one will even remember. So we had a super chat, I think, came in at the start that I think we went past. But cheers, D Legend.
Yeah, let's read it out. So nice to see Ben is becoming a hardcore Joker fan. Someone needed to check the Dow fanboy JG.
Cheers for the super chat, D Legend. Yeah.
Have you been checking in on me? Was I crying? That's what everyone wants to know. All the comments I've seen, JG crying tears on the YouTube. So Ben, let them know behind the scenes. Have I been sobbing? Have I been really upset that Djokovic has won?
You were, until you saw his post-match interview, I think, and then you grew admiration for him. I think that it went from tears of sadness for Protect 22 to tears of some sort of emotion for Djokovic and his struggle. And I think maybe the crossover in the tears has made you like warm to Djokovic a little bit more now. And then you got a little bit
I like what he had
confused.
to say. I really liked what he
Yeah.
had to say after the match. I thought it was very heartwarming and motivational. And yeah, I was trying to protect 22. I want to protect 22 for Rafa. I can't protect it anymore. So now I'm not trying to protect 23. I'm going for 23 with Rafa.
It's a good idea. Well, Gary said I'm flying into London for the JG stick beat.
Get your tickets now.
That's it. Join the Patreon. If you join the top tier, you get the biggest stick. But yeah, we won't be entertaining any of that type of actual physical harm. Right, on to
Look,
the
the
next.
ghost is sticking up for me, saying at least JG admitted he was wrong. That already makes him more honourable than the majority of the mainstream tennis press.
Hell yeah,
Here we
it
go.
does. Hold your hands
Put my
up.
hands up. Look, they're up. They're high. Look how high I can put them.
Stick them up.
So high.
Yes, indeed. Right. Well, you were talking about the press conference from Novak Djokovic afterwards. Let's quickly talk about the press afterwards for Stefanos Tsitsipas, because obviously
It wasn't the press conference. It was more the post-match interview on court. I'm
on
referring
court.
to.
Yeah, I know it's hard to differentiate.
Yeah.
I get my words.
I think that's what you mean, but just to clarify for people listening.
I'd sometimes call it the off-court interview and then get it all muddled up. But no, it's on court after the match interview.
Yeah.
Whilst holding a runner-up trophy. Oh, playing the guitar there to the spring. Yes, and he had some choice words to say about Novak Djokovic. Obviously, it's hard to see somebody speak when they've just lost a final. This is the second one he's lost to Djokovic, this time even more emphatically than the first one in Roland Garros. You can only be complimentary, really. I mean, he was just beaten by the better player. He was aware that he was the better player. He tried his best. It wasn't good enough. What more can he really say? And I know that and Djokovic said some nice, kind words like that. You will be in more slam finals and everybody cheers and all that. It's just like a few niceties. But the main thing that Tsitsipas said was the next bit. No, it's not that bit. That's Djokovic's bit. Where is it?
That's the one I was asking for earlier. There
that one.
So you do have the one I had. But anyway, we got there in the end. So this is it. And this is what he had to say. He said, he is the greatest that has ever held a tennis racket. So before this moment, he was saying, I think he said something along the lines of, he's one of the best to ever hold a racket. Yeah. And then all the crowd were like making a lot of noise. And then he was sort of smiling. And he was like, oh, okay. Because he didn't actually say he was the greatest. So then he repeated, it was like, he's the greatest holder. And everyone was like, yeah. And then the camera goes to Djokovic and he goes,
little smile, wasn't it?
He does like the very weird smile. Like he didn't want to laugh or smile, but he couldn't hold it in. It was like one of them smiles that's like bursting from the seams.
It was that contentment that just suddenly came out. This warm glow just came over his face.
And then he just like, oh, quick, everyone's looking at me, stop. And then he went like normal faced again. It was quite funny.
He should have just nodded, like, yeah. It was, well, very complimentary. But how can you not be complimentary to someone who's won 22 Grand Slams and beating you that convincingly in a slam final?
Yeah.
Would he be
saying? I really liked what Steph had to do as well. Had to say in the interview, because he was focusing all of his questions on Djokovic, just admiring his greatness and how good he was, and how he loves playing Novak Djokovic because he brings out the best level in him. He doesn't look at it as, oh no, I've got to play him again. It's like, this is a challenge which I will one day overcome. He still believes he can win a Grand Slam. He still believes he can be a future world #1 tennis player. And all it's done is show him where the top of the mountain is. And I tell you what, it's a bit of a peak to get there, but he knows what he needs to do to get there. It's just about trying to put it all together. He certainly works hard. He certainly has the game. He has a massive heart. And as Djokovic would say, he's a very interesting guy.
This is weird. No, when he said that as well, he's just like, he's one of the most interesting people on tour. He's very interesting.
I think my translation of Steph being interesting is just he's a bit different. Like you ask him a question in the press room and it takes him 30 seconds to reply. He's come out many times and said he doesn't really get on with any other tennis players because no one's like him. He's very spiritual. He's a character. He's unique.
He's creative as well.
He is a creative, yeah.
That's the thing that's what I like about him. He's well into his video editing and his like cameraman like style work with like just vlogging, that type of stuff. I think I sometimes forget how young Tsitsipas is because he's 6'4". He looks older than he does. He's been around for a while and he plays
He's a powerful guy,
at such a
Steph.
high level. Yeah.
People were saying maybe he might be able to outpower Djokovic in this match,
Sometimes he did.
but he can't. He
Not
just simply
consistently.
can't. He can every now and then on the odd shot, but over a duration of a best of 5 match, he's just not quite there yet against the top players.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Milan saying, didn't Tsitsipas release an album? I'm not sure, did he? Well, we've got Matthew
Yeah, he
saying
did. There was definitely some music.
said he jumps off cliffs in Monaco. Wow. It's just nice to be in Monaco, I think, for starters. I know that one of my friends...
Was that before or after the match he jumped off the cliff?
Well, if you've seen the music video, he's in the he's doing that in that as well. I didn't even know that, but there you go. I was going to say the guy who filmed my England music video was in before the pandemic started. I was hanging out with him, wasn't even filming Ferraris and stuff, like, because they knew the same influencer out there, so they got to meet out there in Monaco. It's quite interesting just seeing them filming fast cars together, which is interesting. Yeah, but anyway, let's move on to this one. I thought was quite a nice touch from Lacoste. I mean, they've brought out the 22. What did you call this? Like a jacket or like a sports
jacket, Ben?
Sports jacket?
It's a jacket.
Well, okay, let's just call it a jacket.
It's a sport. It is a jacket. Look, it's a special jacket. Lacoste even called it a special jacket.
Special jacket. All right, we'll go with special jacket. I'm only wear cardigans.
Do you know why it's special?
if it doesn't have buttons.
Why is it special, Ben?
Well, I think it's because it has this little number written on the side here.
It's got a special little glowy number 22. And this is another little topic I want to talk about because there's been a bit of heat on social media, like there always is. What do you make of this? Do you think it's bad for players to preemptively make some kind of attire before they've won something with the number of what? Because let's be honest, that jacket was still waiting there if he lost.
He didn't obviously ask for it to be made. They made it for him. Bear in mind all of the...
But what's your views on preemptively making something with a number before you've even done that success?
Well, I'm the best person to ask. It is a very nerve-wracking time making something with no knowledge if it's actually going to come true. And the worst thing for me about writing the song, I wrote all of these great lyrics about Australia and him getting number 10 and anything that the stuff that related to last year. If he doesn't win, that doesn't mean anything anymore. All of that just goes to dust. And the same with this. What do you do with it? Do you hold on to it until he wins the 22, or is there another design that they'd probably want to give? That's
it'd probably be another design. I think it becomes no good then.
Yeah, but all of his family had number 10 tops on as well.
Yeah, I know.
And all of his box. So that's interesting as well. They all had it all made up ready, and it could have potentially...
The thing is, Federer's done this before a match before. I think with his shoes, was it? And Nadal had one for 21 after Australia as well. I think it's something what happens nowadays in sport.
Well, the sponsors are going to obviously be doing that, and
they're desperate. They just make more money off it. I mean, this has already been launched, hasn't it, from Lacoste? So people can buy this jacket now. And I don't think it's cheap.
There are only 22 pieces available worldwide.
Oh, really?
That is what's so special about this jacket.
I wonder how much each one is then.
Probably a few £1,000, maybe tens of thousands, I would have thought. You never know, but yeah, if you want to get your
$1
million. 1 gazillion. No.
Gosh, that's interesting. I didn't know there was only 22 pieces. Just shows I can't even read as well. My predictions are bad and I can't read English.
What they should do with this, I don't know if they have done it or not.
Anya's saying it's €250.
$22. that would be the best one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're already sold out. But I mean, if there's only 22 at 250, you must have been like, do you know, like one of them waiting lists where there's like say 10,000 people on there, and then it's like a raffle at that point where just some random name gets selected, then you can buy it. Well, I know they do it with Yeezys and other sort of brands.
This would have been my idea for it, and I know it sort of makes it like an elitist thing. Maybe they auction all of them, and then all of the money goes to the Novak Djokovic Foundation. something like that would have been a real
Yeah.
nice touch for his 22nd one, and that would have helped a lot of people as well, and rather than
Yeah, but
just it
okay,
being
the bad thing about doing that is ultimately the jackets then end up with just only the rich people who are going to spend thousands of pounds.
how about
I
the
know that
rich
money then
people
goes to charity, so it's
buy
not
it
that bad.
for somebody who's poor?
I know what you mean. It's not that bad.
I don't know. I'm
But there's
trying to think of a way
there's
of
22
phrasing.
lucky people who have this jacket, and I'm sure if they put it on eBay, they could sell it for a lot more than 250 euros. I'm going to be searching the local
22 in
charity
each
shops.
size? Well, they're all
Imagine
the same
finding one of
size.
these in the charity shop.
Well, what if they're all they're all XL or something? I'm like, well,
You probably
just
get to customize whatever size you want.
maybe, I don't know, but there's probably some kid who's just gone running down the football pitch with it on. He's like, "Hey, you got me a new jacket," sliding all the mud.
Mud
Yeah,
up.
it tore it. Comes back with it, like just come through a hedge. Yeah, great.
Anyway, let's move on. I think we spoke enough about the jacket.
The last one, and this chart is a joke. Domination in a sport is not supposed to last this long, and we know the big three. Well, I think you've heard of them: Djokovic, Nadal, Federer. And these are all the men's Grand Slam winners since 2004. And we've got the colours there. We've got green for Federer, red for Nadal, and blue for Novak Djokovic. And not that dominant, though, is it? There's loads of others have won slams.
I can't believe it. I don't think we'll ever see something like it again.
It's like, where's Wally, isn't it? Like, oh, there's Wawrinka.
Oh, look, there's a Chilich.
Not applicable is one. There's many.
Not applicable is one more than Steph. Oh. No, too soon. But
terrible.
Yeah, it is remarkable looking at this graphic. It just does not seem real. You would think that there's only ever 5 people who enter a slam every year.
Yeah.
You don't realise that the pool of players in a Grand Slam, you've got 128 players. You've then got loads of people who try and qualify. And you've got players playing week in, week out in challenges across the world to try and get enough points in the ATP Tour to build their ranking up so they can get into a Grand Slam. This is open to everyone in a way. Well, it's not open to everyone because you still need to be a good tennis player, but it's still open. It's an open tournament in which 3 players only win it. It's just remarkable. And to do it, you don't just win one. It's not a one-off match. You have to win a tournament. You have to win 7 consecutive matches. It's not normal, Ben, to have these players winning all this amount of time. We'll never see it again after these 3.
Isn't it like interesting to just see the way the color pattern works as well? Anybody who's just sort of only listening, you've got obviously 04 to 07, and it's just sort of green across the board apart from Roland Garros, where it's Nadal. And then we go down, and then the left column for Australia is just all blue, and the right column for French Open is all red, pretty much. And then Federer is just dotted in between a few of these ones. Not so much, though. If we go down to, past 2011, Federer's name becomes a little bit thin on the ground there. And we get a few more people.
It becomes a bit Murray.
Yeah, Murray jumping in there. But Murray would have hoped he would have probably got a few more if Chilich
Federer becomes a little bit like a Murray post 2010. And then look at the most recent ones we've got there. And we can see the US Open. It has been generating new Grand Slam winners there. Team Medvedev Alcaraz. Is it going to be another one this year? It's very strange that happens at the US Open, but that's the way it's been. We've got Jamie enters for the super chat saying Alcaraz should be targeting 6 US Opens. Seems to be the Open Slam, so why not?
Well, when you can see there, since 2011, Djokovic and Nadal have both won it the exact same amount of times as well, which pretty even playing field, you'd think there. And then in the last 3 years, obviously, just new Grand Slam champions. And obviously we had that on the women's side as well.
Look how 2023 started. Djokovic first name.
Just making the blue continue.
I can't believe there was an idiot somewhere who predicted neither of Nadal or Djokovic going to win a Grand Slam. When you look at this, it just goes to show how crazy and out there that prediction is and how wrong it is. Some would say stupid.
The thing is, though, we know how good tennis players are, and when you watch people playing tennis, even like the top 50 players, they're incredible. That's the thing. You look at these players, you think they're playing, you see them live, you think, God, they could beat anybody. No, and then you got someone like Nadal, Djokovic. You're just nowhere near that level. That they go up
I
so
mean, you've
much
got to look at
higher.
Roland Garros now and say it's between Nadal and Djokovic, and you've got to go to Wimbledon and say it's between Djokovic and Djokovic. And then the US Open was between anyone.
Well, Djokovic might not be allowed in. That's the one saving grace, I think, for everybody else is Djokovic can't play
Nadal.
potentially at the moment. Well, Rafa will probably be aiming for the US Open if Djokovic won't be there.
Yeah, anyway, I think we'll wrap it up there. That is our summary of the Australian Open and Novak Djokovic's success. We will do something similar for Arina Sabalenka, maybe tomorrow. But yeah, not really much more to say about Novak Djokovic. I think we've said everything there can be. He is now number one in the world. 10 Australian Opens, 22 Grand Slams. Next slam on the calendar is Roland Garros. With him and Rafa going for 23. If you don't want to watch that, then I don't know what you're doing with your life, to be honest. Because that is going to be the pinnacle of the sport. If they can meet in a final, I think the world stops. I think there should be a bank holiday. I think it is that intense where everyone should not be working. Everyone needs to book the day off work. They need to sit down and join us for Game to Love.
Definitely.
No, I mean the Monday. Book the day off the Monday because you need to be up all night. And whatever happens, to celebrate in the streets. Watch the highlights. Just get involved in it. It would be a sporting
Mardi
event.
Gras.
It will be the biggest sporting event of the century.
Well, just think as well, it's a significant one as well, because the next time they play each other, which I hope is at Roland Garros, it will be the 60th time that they will have met in a competitive match. It doesn't get bigger, does it? 60 times that they've played each other. We can't end on 59. You know that. I won't be able to sleep if we have 59. That odd number, we need to round it up. They must play at least once more at a slam. That's all I'm saying. And I'm hoping Rafa gets back fit soon so we get to see more of that epic tennis at Roland Garros.
Yeah, exactly that. Well done to the Joker. Go check out the song if you haven't seen it already. And that's what Jokers do.
Yes, it's pinned in the live chat. Go check that out. I want to say a quick shout out because we haven't said it yet. Player Roulette was won by Lynette from our Patreon. So well done to Lynette. You got Novak Djokovic in the draw. There will be a prize for you. So make sure to reach out to us either on Patreon or on Discord, and we will get that organized for you. You had the luck of the draw when the roulette wheel span. And when Novak Djokovic came out next to your name, I think everybody was sort of like, Lynette.
That was the name what people wanted. And Lynette is the lucky patron winner who won the first Player Roulette. There will be some merch as well, Ben, right? For Game to Love for Djokovic?
Yes, there will be. Just keep your eyes peeled. I have, my fiance has been working on a nice design for Nole. Big Nole fan as well, obviously, in this house. We've just been celebrating through the night, just designing stuff. But it's a great design. Celebrating Nole's 22nd slam. Keep your eyes peeled on the channel, and we will get some posted on the community, and we'll get some posted in the Discord as well. And you can, I know Gary is very keen to get himself some merch, so there will be some coming.
Awesome. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Make sure like and subscribe, and we'll see you very soon.